What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today, BCH USD. Hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you all for being here. It is the 5th day of March. And here we are at about $461. Bitcoin Cash, got about 9 hours, 20 minutes left in the day, has moved up yesterday, and we actually did see a little bit of volume come in, which is nice to see, you guys. We got a 5% move to the upside. Bitcoin, I think, didn't it close a little bit more than 5%? Let's just see. 6.3%, but that's okay, whatever. Bitcoin Cash moving up here. Nice to see, holding this higher low, holding this double bottom kind of idea. This is really exciting, but the true excitement, shout out to the Dragon Riders, by the way. I don't know if I said it. Shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon. The truly exciting part would be, I think, when we get above these daily low closes here, right? We're going to be getting above that daily high close, and likely from that point we would probably see prices above this high. Whether you want to get excited about the low closes here, that's what I would get excited about, or you want to get excited about getting a technical, I don't know if I would call that a higher high personally. I think the higher high would actually be here. That would be the more exciting thing than this high. But tomato, whatever, I think once we get back above $500 effectively, that's when we can start to really confirm that this is the low. And I am expecting this to be the low. I personally am expecting this to be the low. That's been the call for quite some time, right? Up here, I did not expect that we go all the way down here, but up here we did say that even if we go lower, the expectation is to not go below this low. With that being said, even if that expectation fails, there's still a strong chance where Bitcoin Cash could provide some sort of a fake out to the downside, right? As we've seen before in its history, even this low here itself was a fake out of these lows here, right? This high in itself was a fake out of these highs here. We've seen fake outs happen plenty of times with Bitcoin Cash. We go back to these lows here. We saw a fake out low, a slightly lower low, and then we moved up, right? Here, we had like this low bottoming area, but we had a slightly lower low that was the actual low in all this area here. So it's something that we could see, and it's okay, but really we don't want to go too much lower than these lows here, right? Again, the reason why we don't want to go too much lower than those lows is because then we'd be breaking out of this very beautiful structure that we've been forming for the past like 7-8 months now. I don't even know how long it's been. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're on the 9th month, actually. So 8 months and some days because it's still the beginning of March. March, so far, looks a bit like a spinning top on the monthly time frame. I think that this is a fine area to find support. You know, we are within this little consolidation range. That's within a greater consolidation range that is on the back end testing of this consolidation range here, right? It's like this is our springboard and this is the compression. Now, is the spring going to break? Are we obese? Did we break the springboard? Or are we light as a feather and that springboard is going to send us through the air? I'm going with the light as a feather stuff. I live in Colorado. There's not too many obese people. Shout out to my obese people out there, the obese dragon riders. You guys need the big dragons, baby. And we're going to get a big green dragon up here. Looking at you, Texas. I love Texas, man. I love Texan people. Texan people, by the way, I think Texas gets a bad rap. Texas people are fun. They're very, very fun. Yes, they're loud. Yes, they're silly. But isn't that great? Isn't that awesome? And you can't mess with Texas, bro. Texans are amazing. They have a very amazing culture. Anyways, seriously, and if you think that that's wrong, I'm going to ask you a question right now. Have you ever been to Texas? I'm not asking if you've ever met a Texan. Okay, there's people who are not cool from anywhere in the world, not just from like one specific place. But have you ever been to Texas? It's a good time. It's a good time, man. I don't. It's hot as hell down there, and it's humid. It's muggy. They got big bugs, and they're all great. They're all having a good time for the most part, you know. Anyways, shout out to the Texans on that note. 400 but the Houston Texans, the football team, they can't seem to get past the second round of any playoff. It's just sad, man. They can't seem to do it. You got to do better. We need to get you past the second round. Anyways, maybe next year. Stroud really did not do well in the playoffs. Let's move on, guys. We're not talking about that. Anybody who's watching this from Australia or from other parts of the world, because I know a lot of Bitcoin Cash people are from other parts of the world. You guys are like, what the hell? What are you even talking about? Houston Texans? What are you? That's a place, right? You're talking about the people in Houston, Texas. $461 here. $461. We're looking at this on a monthly time frame. The last time that our RSI was here in this area, we did find support. The time before that it was exactly here in this area, we found momentary support as well. We've been, in other words, throughout this whole consolidation area that we're in right now, and we're at the top ends of it here. Every time we've found a low point in this consolidation area, dating back to March of 2024, this is where we found support. And even past that, even outside of this consolidation area, since the bull market began for Bitcoin Cash, this has been the area that we've held as support. And that kind of makes sense. If you're in a bull market on a monthly time frame, you might hold the 50 as support. That makes sense. I want to look at the MACD and the stochastics real quick, and then I want to look at the weekly time frame. Stochastics are here at the 50. We could find support here. Right, we've done it before. We've actually seen us find support here before and then come up, and that was good. We found support here before and then moved up. It's a little bit of a different dynamic than what we have here. But yeah, this is a suitable area to find support in the stochastics. If not, if we are to go lower, if we are going to go down to the oversold zone, we would certainly see prices that are back below $300. We certainly would. Not tomorrow, not next month, but at some point this year, probably. That doesn't throw off Bitcoin Cash. It doesn't make it go to the downside. It could. Again, we could be breaking the springboard here. Then we flop on our faces. But hopefully we can pick ourselves back up, and then we can try again later, maybe with a sturdier springboard. We'll see. The MACD is crossed red. It's kind of interesting. Don't know what to think of that. We've seen a false cross before. Could this be a false cross now? It's possible. We're in very interesting times with not just Bitcoin Cash, but with crypto as a whole. Let's look at this on the short-term stuff, and then we'll zoom back out. I actually want to look at the weekly time frame first. Let's do that real quick. Right, we've got this very, very massive move here to the downside, 22%. That's one of the largest weeks we've seen for Bitcoin Cash since like 2025 April, in like almost a year. That was the largest move that we've seen, up or down. And the volume was not really representative of that, right? For example, 22.5%. By the way, I'm pretty sure 22.5%, this right here is 25.9%. I'm pretty sure, let's just see, yeah, this is bigger, right? From an overall size, from a percentage perspective, this is bigger, but it actually takes more to move down. Notice here how this 25.6% move is smaller than this red candle. This is actually bigger than this candle. From an open to close basis, it was actually bigger, even though it's smaller on a percentage basis. That's just how positives and negatives work. Math is cool that way. This was a bigger candle than this candle here. And the volume that we had here versus the volume that we have here, the volume here is smaller, notably smaller, right? It just doesn't really represent this move. And not only that, throughout this whole range, it's like one of the lower spikes. It's still kind of in this realm of where we've seen all these spikes go, but it's not. It's just nothing that would really make me think that we are quote unquote breaking out. Coming down to your lows with quote unquote high volume doesn't really make me think that we're going to keep going lower. That makes me think that we're probably going to reverse. Same thing to the upside, right? If you're getting high volume or relatively high volume and you're not going anywhere, you're just in the same place, that's typically not a good thing. It's not exciting. You need to push through. You need to keep going. And this week here, turning around like this and not picking up volume, not picking up momentum to the downside, it's a good sign that we could be finding support here. We look at this on the weekly time frame here, and the RSI is at these low areas that we've been finding support at. Can we go lower? Absolutely we can. Have we gone lower before? Yes. We found support right here before, right? We can go, let me just put this like right here, right at that low there. But nonetheless, since June of 2023, on a weekly perspective, this is typically where Bitcoin Cash has found support. We look at the weekly RSI for what it is. We've seen more consistent readings in the overbought zone, no consistent readings at all, no readings at all in the oversold zone since the end of the bear market. This is very bullish structure, you guys. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a very, very bullish structure. So I'm curious to see what comes out of this. Here, we got above the 50. That was your low. Here, we rejected the 50, but once we got above it, that validated this was your low here. Whenever we got above the 50 here, right? Here we bounced at this level, but we didn't get above the 50. We went lower. But then we got above the 50, and that was your low. We didn't see prices that were, or readings that were down here for a while. Here, we rejected the 50. And then we came down here. If we can get back above that 50, I think this 50 level is important as well. That could really look promising, not just for the idea that we're at a relative low point here, but that, again, the spring is about to get sprung. About to spring a sprung spring. If we're looking at this here on the MACD, on the MACD. Hold on real quick, you guys. If we're looking at this here on the MACD, let's see, we are back at the 0 level here. The oscillators are at the 0. We could be finding support right here. The histogram is at some of the lower levels that we've been finding support at as well. What's not encouraging is that we had a false cross to the upside here with our green momentum, but what is encouraging a little bit is that we are at these low levels in the histogram here where we typically have found support, at least dating back to like February of 2025. We can go lower, of course we can, but what we don't want to see is we don't want to see this MACD cross below the 0. We don't want to see that, okay? We want to hold the 0 as support. That would be a very, very strong signal. We've held levels below the 0 as support before, and that's fine. But again, wouldn't it have been more fun? Wouldn't it have been more better if we found support at the 0 here and then we started moving up, right? Instead, we were just moving sideways, right? Wouldn't it have been better if we found support? Actually, I'm looking at this. I would have thought that we went lower. We really didn't go too much lower. We just went stagnant and moved sideways. The only thought here, okay, it's a totally different thought. I was thinking, looking at the MACD, that during these crosses we would have seen lower prices, but I guess we just consolidated. Here's the thought. We crossed below the 0 here, we moved sideways. We crossed below the 0 here, we moved sideways. Guess what, guys? This happened after a big move down. This happened after a big move down. Then we moved sideways. There hasn't been a big move down. Bitcoin Cash, at this point here, has already been moving sideways for a lot longer. So it's effectively, it's as if we've like reset ourselves already. Maybe we don't need to move down. Maybe it's not going to move lower. I mean, again, from this point here, whenever we've seen the crosses the last 2 times below the 0, that's just promoted further consolidation. My thought there is that, well, we've already been consolidating. Might we actually get a bounce off this level here and be ready to go? That would actually be pretty cool to see. Nonetheless, though, I wouldn't want to see us cross below that 0 because that either promotes further consolidation, which whatever, that's boring, but I guess it's better than dropping, or it could, unlike these other 2 attempts, it could promote a break to the downside. So support soon and moving up higher soon. We want to see that. Specifically, I think what we want to see is Bitcoin Cash get above $600 or at least $585. Once we get above this high here, that very much validates this as a low. We have this kind of double bottom shape, this W shape take on. Whenever I draw it like this, it looks like a pretty W. Whenever you look at it like this, it's pretty ugly is what it is. But nonetheless, this double bottom structure could play out. If this is a double bottom and is to be regarded as such, we validate that once we cross the threshold up here, once we break above the nipple there, okay? $585 might be the most important price to break through. Even more important than breaking above these highs, even more important than breaking to new all-time highs. It might be the most important price to break through because this would be the point at which you, me, anybody paying attention knows, okay, it's on. It's on. The springboard is loaded. The momentum is there. We're ready to shift. And that idea becomes very substantiated once we're at about $585. Once we're above $585. And it's very specific too. We can't just go above and then come back down. We don't want to see that. It takes that W shape right out the window. Okay. What you want to see is, at worst, you come back and find support there and you keep going. You want to see persistent growth. And it doesn't have to be persistent now. We could still consolidate. It could be slow, but once we cross the threshold, it needs to be persistent. Typically with W's, whenever you break through this point, you continue to grow until you are above where the W started. You could go through the roof, maybe that happens, but likely what we'd see is we'd move up here, we might consolidate one last time, and then we go through the roof, something like that. Looking at this on the daily time frame, RSI, we do have a bit of a double bottom in the RSI here. We do have bullish divergence with the higher lows there, the lower lows there. We're playing that out now. Stochastics look like they want to come out of the oversold zone. They're not quite there yet, but that's somewhat of a bullish implication if they do. As long as today closes green and the subsequent days after this closes green, I think that we have a really solid chance of getting the stochastics out of the oversold zone. And then the MACD, while it is disappointing that we rejected the 0 here, Our oscillators are at some type of a double bottom right here, right? And that's nice to see. That does give us a chance to come back up and break above the zero probably sometime later this month of March. So the end of March might be exciting for Bitcoin Cash. Or if we reject, maybe it's exciting up to that point and then it's disappointing again. We'll see. Not only that, but our histogram readings here are at some of the lowest readings that we've seen in quite some time. We look at this, right? That was the lowest that we'd seen. This is the lowest that we've seen, December 2024. That was the lowest. That's the only time that we've seen lower readings than this really throughout this whole bull market. I guess April 2024 as well. But you can see here we found support, we found support, we found support, we found support, we found support just above and right at it there, just above it there, right at it here. Maybe. It's definitely got a strong possibility. It's got a chance. Okay, we can say that, and it would look really good. Not just for us to cross green here. I think that would look really good. That would definitely imply that we found support here, but to get these oscillators back above the zero, I think that's a very important thing. And in order to see that, we would definitely have to get back above like $600. I think it would that cross would probably happen once we get above this point here. That kind of weekly cross typically propels the price, you guys. Typically it does. We had a weekly cross up here that allowed the price to grow, right? We had the weekly cross to the upside here. That was literally the beginning of what was another uptrend here, right? This was a smaller uptrend, but still the cross happened at the beginning of that uptrend. So all these things would likely happen. We would definitely confirm that we're in an uptrend if we maintain these higher lows and we get a higher high here. So again, just referencing the importance of this level. I want to look at the short-term stuff, and then I want to wrap this video up. Okay, I'm going to look at this on the 1 hour time frame, and then I'll zoom out. 1 hour time frame here. We're moving up. We're finding support now here where we found resistance before, right? It's not perfect. It's a little sloppy, but still kind of that idea there, right? We look at the 1 hour RSI. We're getting overbought. We're not really getting oversold as much in this area, right? We've got these, oops, that's not what I meant to do. We've got these higher lows, and we've got higher highs. It's a good trajectory. It's a good look, and we're at an area that you might expect to find support. If we go lower from here, if we do go below $457, it's not the end of the world, but we would likely then come down and hope for a higher low scenario here. We would likely find support somewhere around like 440 to, yeah, like 440, 445, somewhere down here, if we were to take out these lows here at 457, okay? That would be the area that we'd find support. If we're looking at, I don't know if you guys can hear my little baby girl crying, but she's a little baby. Babies cry. It's okay. Let's see. The stochastics are somewhat bullish. The RSI is definitely bullish. The MACD is even bullish. There's no bullish divergence, but overall the MACD is bullish as well on the 1 hour time frame. We look at the 4 hour time frame, and we didn't really get into the overbought zone. We're kind of rejecting it, but that's okay. Sometimes that happens. Stochastics are coming out of the overbought zone. The MACD is right on the forefront of crossing above the zero, you guys. We are literally at this same point with Bitcoin that we are with Bitcoin Cash, and I'm starting to get a bit of a bullish implication with this because people are still fearful. There's a lot of people, like myself, who are expecting that Bitcoin would see lower prices, and they probably sold. The only difference between me and them is I didn't sell. I haven't sold out. I'm still holding. I'm accumulating crypto, if anything. Really, I'm accumulating cash right now. But and I was planning on buying some more once we saw that dip, but it didn't happen. But again, there's probably a lot of people like me who were expecting lower prices to buy. And now that the price is higher, those same people are going to be forced to buy on the pump. There's definitely some momentum there. And we know that because, again, the fear and greed index, there's still fear even after this bullish engulfing candle that we had this week for Bitcoin. And this recovery that we had for Bitcoin Cash. I forget where I was going with that. But the thought here is that as long as we can remain persistent, I think that there will be some FOMO. There will be some people who are waiting on lower prices, who are going to be forced to buy in at higher prices. What was the thought that I was trying to go with here? I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. I cannot remember. That's okay. We're moving down. Whoop, come on now. We're moving down, and we saw volume decreasing. Right. We're moving up. Volume's coming in, but it's still kind of decreasing. What I want to see is that when we move above this here, I want to see volume increase relative to this spike here. I don't want to see a continuation of decreasing volume, okay? Looking at the 4 hour indicators here, again, the RSI, so okay, we already looked at this. What was it? was something here that got me distracted. We were doing the same thing. We kind of stagnated and then we moved up, but it wasn't enough. No, it's not the thought. That's okay. I'll probably remember at some other point. Closing thoughts are, we do not want, it's okay if we go below this low. We don't want to go too much below this low, okay? We certainly don't want to go below $400. Really, we don't even want to go below like $410, $415, okay? Ideally, we want to just avoid that scenario entirely. We don't want to go below that low. Want to hold these higher lows, this double bottom look, and the goal at this point is just to get above this $585 price. We do that, and then I think, you guys, we're on the path. We're beginning the journey to this overall retracement of these highs here. Somewhere in between this zone is where I think we're going to go. And if we base last cycle's high to low, the bear market low here in this trajectory, the 1272 comes up right there just below this high here. And I really like this $3,650 level. Just because I like it doesn't mean it has to happen. Maybe this move is a bit of a flop and maybe it's lesser. That doesn't mean that we can't grow from there. Maybe it takes more time, and that's fine if it does. But with all this momentum, with all this winding that we've been doing going on 9 months now, back testing this prior resistance line, very significant historical resistance line, back testing it for support, my thought would be that we should see something rather exceptional. I'm not thinking that we would see, I would think from a statistical perspective, it would be more likely that we exceed my expectations than it would be that we fall short of my expectations. But anything can happen. Nonetheless, the coming months should be exciting. That excitement is vindicated once we're above $585. I've got nothing else for you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.